Hello everyone. In this week's video, we are going to be working on our applique blocks for the Sweetland Sew Along by Holt. These are the items I'll be using today to make our applique blocks. I'll need fabrics. I'm using scrap fabrics. I'm using heat and bond. I need a pencil or a pen to trace our Sew Simple shapes onto the paper side of our heat and bond. Then we will cut out those shapes and iron them to the back of our fabrics. All right, so I have traced all of my Sew Simple shapes onto my heat and bond. As you can see, here are all of our shapes. There are some shapes that you have to trace in reverse. So do you see how I have a 1 there? Because that's the forward facing. And then I flipped over the template and traced it in reverse. So on template number 1, 2, and 3, you're going to cut them forward and in reverse. Okay? There we go. So now that I have all of my shapes traced onto my heat and bond, the next thing I'm going to do is pick out my fabrics. So what I did on my book here that I printed out, I wrote in here what color fabric I'm going to use for that shape. So I'm going to go through my stack of all my reds and get like an assortment of reds, because as you can see it says I need to cut 8, but half of those need to be in reverse. See how I put an R there? So I can remember when I traced them, I'll trace 4 forward and 4 in reverse to be a total of 8. And then here's another part of the flag. This is the blue part where the stars are. Same thing, cut 8. So it'll be 4 forward and 4 in reverse. All right, same thing with the birds. You have the birds facing both directions on your block, so you need to trace them forward and in reverse. All right, so let me go and pick out which fabrics I want to use for which template, and I'm going to start ironing them on. So all I'm going to do is like cut out all of that number and then iron it onto the back of the fabrics and then cut out the shapes. All right, so as you can see, I cut out all of my shapes from my heat and bond and I ironed them onto the back of my fabrics, the wrong side, all right? So now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut out all of my shapes. All right, so I have all of my shapes now cut out of my fabric. I have them laid out here for all 4 blocks. So now I'm just going to get some Ziploc bags and I'm going to put in each bag everything I need for each block. Now that we have all of our shapes cut out and bagged up, ready to start doing our blocks, we need to cut our background fabric. We need 16.5 inches squared. I cut my squares at 17 inches so that I can trim them down after I applique my block. But you can just cut yours at 16.5 if you want. So what we're going to do here is look at our block layout. So as you can see, Lori shows us the number of each template and where we're going to lay it on the block. All right, so we're going to start our first applique block. So what I did is my background fabric, I folded it in a square and I ironed it so that I now have lines marking, Can you see the wrinkles? The center of the block. That's going to help me with my layout. All right. So now I know where the center of the block is, right here. And this is where that flower is going to go. Okay, so the first thing, let's put our base on, which is U7. That's this piece right here. And it looks like it goes about right there. All right. And then we have our stem coming up from the center. I put that right on that line. Then the flower head at the top. Goes just like that. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Then let's add our birds next. Okay, so we have a bird on this side. Let's add our legs. I'm going to put the leg, the bottom of the leg, at the bottom of the fabric. I cut my legs at 2.5 inches. Okay, so there we go. And then a wing. Let's put the bird on the other side. Add our legs. Okay, add our wing. All right. Let's see, what do we want to add next? Let's add our flags. Oh, here's the flag. Let's see, it looks like she has the flag about right there. Here's our flag poles. Okay, let's move this to the top of the poles. There we go. How about like that? All right, I have my block all laid out. Now I'm going to put the hot iron on there and carefully not move anything. Let me just start right here on the edge.
Like and subscribe to Grandma's channel. Like and subscribe to Grandma's channel.